I am Julie Holly. If we haven't met yet, I love people. I love supporting people. I am founder of Three Keys Investments and host of the Conscious Investor podcast. I also high performance coach, which all of these things, believe it or not, are completely intertwined, because I always say, like, if you have all of the investments you want, you could still be bankrupt with your relationships and with yourself as a person. And it's like you don't want to be bankrupt in either category. So mindset and investing always like go hand in hand in my life. And I love to support people with that. And I also want you guys to know that Dustin and Hayden have done a really great job, just like making sure that good content is coming your way. Because you guys like actually are like, hey, what are you actually like? What are we presenting on? What are we delivering? So here's my promise to you. If you promise to like put all your distractions away for the next, let's just say like 25 minutes, just hit this thing. I put it on do not disturb, I promise you the way we're going to talk about goals is going to be so different than anything else that you've heard in the past. And so I want to encourage you to be present, because you will walk away with something that's going to help transform 2023 for you. I know, because I've done this and it's been very powerful in my own life. So without that, we all have these relationship with goals. And a lot of people have a very dysfunctional relationship with goals, and it's very daunting, and we end up self-sabotaging and having these weird feelings of failure. And we just generally, a lot of people struggle with goals. So before I totally put you in a box, I'd love to know where you're at on the goal spectrum. So we have this guy that's like totally happy on the next slide. And he's just like, I love my goals. They're fantastic. And then we have the person with the bucket on the head. Now, I used to be the person with the bucket on the head. Now I'm more the happy person. So just in the chat box real fast, where are you at? Scale of 1 to 10. 10, super stoked on goals. They're the best part of my year. And 0 is like, 4-letter words. I hate this. This is the worst thing ever. So let's go ahead and talk about the relationship that we have with goals, right? And sometimes they can make us feel bogged down, but ultimately, and by the way, Dustin is like totally helping me out because my North Idaho internet is kind of crazy right now. And so he's running my slides for me. So I just want to like thank you right now for doing that. Let's go ahead and slip to the next slide, because we all have relationships with goals and we assign different meanings and feelings to our goals. Okay, let me explain this in another way, because I think you'll relate to this. A lot of us invest in multifamily because, and I bet you could fill that blank in with a few different things, because, and most often I hear, hey, I want to invest because I want time freedom, or I want to invest because I want time with that's again time, but it's like family. I want to be around my family. I want to be present. But as much as we have these outcomes that we want, those are just outcomes. That's just simply going through the motions of your life. And that is not how we live life. So we actually interpret the world around us through our feelings and we give this meaning to things, right? So why is it we want to spend time with our family? What are some of those feelings that we actually want to feel? Well, we want probably to feel connected, and we want to feel loved, and we want to feel appreciated, and we want our family to know we feel those things towards them. And if we don't feel those things, we're just simply clocking the card. Here's something else, another example to just drive the point home. Maybe you put on some pandemic pounds and you want to shed the pandemic pounds in 2023. Why? What difference does it make if you lose that, 5-10 pounds or not? You actually want a feeling. You're actually like, I want to feel confident. I want to feel attractive. You want to have these other feelings in your life. Maybe you just want to feel healthy again. So I think that I just wanted to really kind of drive that point home, is that our goals, we're actually chasing after feelings without even realizing it. And I'm wondering if you're tracking with me on that. So go ahead and drop like if you can, just like give me a 5. And that just means like high five, I'm tracking with you. You might disagree with it, but it just lets me know that, yeah, I hear what you're saying. That makes sense, Julie. Life is lived through feelings. Yeah. Thanks, guys. I love knowing that this is like, at least you're here present, because sometimes you feel like you're talking to a screen on this end of things. Awesome. All right. Thank you guys so, so much. So here's the most important thing. We're going to flip our goals around and let's think about what is it we actually want. And I think we can skip maybe another couple slides ahead, Dustin, which is totally fine. We're going to go after what is it we actually want to feel, right? So, we want our feelings. Our feelings are guiding and directing our lives, whether we like it or not. I was not raised this way. So I'm a Gen Xer. Maybe you're a Gen Xer also. Technically, I'm a Zennial, but my husband says, no, you're a Gen Xer. So look up Zennials. That's really what I am. But when I was growing up, I wasn't taught. In fact, I was taught, don't look to your feelings. Your feelings are not your guide in your life. Your feelings will mislead you. And those are just the fluffy things. And I know that from coaching so many clients, I know that I'm not alone. It is shifting. And so, some younger generations are going to have a different view on this. However, there are so many of us that are still recovering. It explains why, like at the end of the day, you have a great day and you're like, man, I just want to go home and, barbecue and have something healthy. Or maybe you have a rough day and you're like, give me the bag of chips and give me the beer and give me the cake. Like, we respond to the world around us through our feelings. And when we acknowledge this, it really amplifies our ability to set goals that stick and deliver the results that we are looking for. So thinking about, how is it that you want to feel? Not the outcome, not I want to close 5 deals and I want to have 600 units by the end of 2023, or I want to leave my corporate job, 6 months from now. Instead of looking at that outcome, now we look at it in a different way. We say, how is that I want to feel if I achieve this outcome? How is it that I want to feel? So I want you to consider that for a moment. Maybe you want to invite more joy in your life over the next year. Or maybe you just want a little lightheartedness and some laughter, because it's been a pretty serious last couple of years. Maybe you want to feel less frustration. You're unique. And so you're going to have different things that are feelings that you are going to want to invite into your life and generate more of. So I'm going to pause for a moment. I want you to consider that if you could invite one and generate one feeling in all of 2023 and just amplify that into your life, what would that feeling be? Go ahead and just drop. It could be 1 or 2 words, but take this moment, declare it right now, drop it in the chat box. I see zeal and joy, surrendered peace. I love, Sue, that you have 2 words in that. Like, those are very powerful words. Fulfillment. Keep them coming. Don't be shy. Less frustration. Maybe the feds could help us with less frustration. Exuberance. Fulfillment. You still got a moment. It's okay. Oh, these are great. You guys are awesome. I want you to take one more step. You wrote this, you put this, oh gosh, that's beautiful, Richard. You've added this into the chat box. I want you to write it down somewhere while it's fresh in your mind, because that's a word that might be the anchor to every single goal that you set for your 2023. Now, most of the time, people are focused on what's the outcome, and we're going to reverse engineer everything. But the outcome ultimately is how are we going to feel? How are we going to feel if we get that book deal? How are we going to feel when we close that deal? How are we going to feel when we're able to, respectfully tell our boss, here's my letter of resignation? See, everything will lead into those feelings. And that just leads us into this next spot right here. And I just again want to say thank you so much. You guys are so seriously, I think you guys are the most amazing meetup group I've ever spoken to because you're so participating and I appreciate it. So, we've talked about how we're feeling. Now we want to talk about how are we going to generate these emotions? And here's your caution right here. And literally, when I was working with a coaching client today, this happened. And so, like, money will amplify your current emotions. Like, I think we should all repeat that in your own minds. Like, money will amplify anything that is in your life. It's not going to go away. It will become amplified with your financial success and with your emotional success, with every success you have. Everything in your life is amplified. So when we talk about, say, financial success, we could say, I could tell you literally from talking to people, the barista, the engineer, the banker, and the teacher, the doctor, all of those people feel like I could have more money in my life. I could have better relationships in my life. I could have Okay, so money isn't going to solve any problems. And so and the outcome of our results of our excuse me, I'm tripping over my words now. The outcome that we're looking for isn't going to be the fulfillment and satisfaction that we're looking for. So understanding which feelings we're after, what we're trying to generate, is going to create that feeling of satisfaction and fulfillment and peace and joy and exuberance. It's all there when we're going after those feelings through our choices. And a lot of times, unfortunately, people are hiding behind these goals, especially, we see it in the investing space, and I'm kind of harping on it a bit, but we look at door count or something. And so a lot of times it's like, it's a practical goal, it's tangible, and it's measurable. I have a proof of concept. I've done it. Have you? Do you feel like you've done it? Somebody beside you might have done less on the piece of paper type metrics, but they might feel more satisfied than you do. So do you want to have more, but still feel like a pile of poo? Or do you want to actually be going for those feelings that are leading to the life that you want and building a solid foundation? Now, on the final point on this is really important, and that is that our subconscious mind is constantly at work. I speak about this often on my podcast, and that is that it is the most powerful part of our mind. We have the front part of our mind, and I kind of jokingly always say our front part of our mind is going, "Rah!" and it's just going crazy. But our subconscious mind is what's keeping us even keeled and steady. And it's really guiding and directing our path. And it's also connecting our head decisions with our hearts. And so we get this connectedness. And the two of those just create this intuition that helps us arrive at those feelings that we're trying to generate more of. So with that, it's imperative that you are very mindful about what you are thinking and what you are pursuing, because your subconscious mind never shuts down. It is always listening to you. And so when you're talking about your goals through the lens of how you want to feel in your life, the emotions you want to generate, your subconscious mind is picking up on that and is going to totally clear a path for that to come into existence. I know for some people that might sound super woo. For me, especially, like I can think about how I was raised as a person of faith and everything. I'm like, oh, wow. I think a lot of people would say, you're a little bit crazy, Julie. And I've seen it play out in my life time and again. And the more I start connecting the head and the heart through the subconscious mind, it's like, wow, this makes so much sense. And it opens a lot of pathways in our life. All right. Time to move on because we don't have all of the time in the world. And that's what we're going to talk about. Time. How long do you actually have? Now, some things actually take a lot of time. I love to bake, and I happen to have pretty much all the ingredients I need on hand for most everything. And if I want to bake a loaf of bread, there are some ingredients that I have to mix together and I have to be patient. So imagine we're in a kitchen and yet I have people that come and visit me in North Idaho. So you're welcome to come visit me and sit in the kitchen and we'll bake bread. You can sit there and I'll bake bread if you want. But if we have all the ingredients out there, some of those ingredients have to be mixed in different ways. Sometimes they take more or less time. With bread, I might need to mix some yeast, sugar, and water and just let it sit for 5-10 minutes. So it starts getting activated. And the same is true of all of the goals that we're pursuing. Once we know the feelings and emotions we're trying to generate more of, then we have to say, okay, we have the ingredients. And I want to assure you of this right now. You are created and designed with everything you need inside of you already. You have the ingredients. Now, you're going to go get some education and some support, and you're going to link arms with people. That's just part of good practices. It's all in you. It's a matter of finding it, discovering it, pulling it out, kind of like those weird things, those odd ingredients when you're cooking and you stash the rest in the refrigerator and you're kind of like, where is that? Okay. Sometimes we have to do a little hunting for what is already inside of us. And that's okay. That's part of the process. And so we have to accept that we do have a time restraint in our life. And so we have to be aware of that time. One more baking example, and I probably should go into like a snowboarding example because that's my Fridays with my family right now. Well, you know what? We will go to a snowboarding example. In fact, this is very pertinent and very relevant. If we ride the bunny hill and at our mountain, and Tesha's here, she knows this. We can go down to the bunny hill and then we can ride that chair up and then we can connect to another chair and go even further. And my son wanted to do this last week, but it was really cold. And so I'm like, that bunny hill chair, it takes a long time to get up there. And so I don't want to go back down there. I want to get on this speed quad, right? And so we need to be thinking that we can't just go, like, I can't just teleport from the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain where I want to be so that I can just ride so much faster with my kids. No, I have to go through the process. I've got to wait in line. And if you're on the bunny hill line, that could take a while because you've got some beginners that might fall and stumble in front of you. And maybe you do that. Sometimes I actually take some silly falls sometimes and I laugh. But we have to actually get onto the chair and then we just have to go through that process. Okay, life is like that. Life is a process. All right. So we can't just instantly have our goals. And since we live in this era of instant gratification, everything's at our fingertips, we need to keep that at top of mind that this is a process and we can accept that. Now, it's important, and that process actually serves a lot of different purposes. Let me see where we at here. So in that process of breaking things down, we're looking at this through our feelings. So let's take this example of you have, your significant other in your life. For me, that's my husband. If I want to have a better relationship with my husband, I'm going to have to build in some small disciplines that will lead to that better relationship, right? So we think, why do I want a better relationship? What's the ultimate outcome? Well, I want to have those feelings of love. I want the romance. I want to feel deeply connected and I want to have fun together and have adventure because we'd like to have adventure in the mountains. So I'm looking at my end result, the outcome that I want. And now I'm backing it up. And instead of backing up our goals the way we normally would, we're going to look at this and say, okay, what's the micro discipline that I can incorporate in my life? Well, when I walk through the door, what if I leave my phone with my keys so that I'm more present with my husband? Or maybe if I want to be more connected with my kids, this is hard, this is painful, but maybe I need to actually sit on the couch and watch a TV show with my daughter and snuggle up, right? So you're thinking about little micro decisions that will lead into the feelings that we want. That's ultimately the outcome that we are looking for. I want you to think now, what is one micro discipline that you can establish in your life right now? This isn't anything life-changing. It's as simple as, I'm just going to put my phone with my keys. I'm going to just sit and snuggle with my teenage man child and watch YouTube shorts because 14-year-olds think that's cool. Or, you know what? I'm going to wake up and I'm going to read 10 pages each day because I want to grow. Think about that for just a moment. And I'm going to ask you to put your micro decision inside the chat box. And the reason is that this creates collaboration amongst everybody. When you share your idea, someone else is going to see that and say like, oh, genius, I should do that. Okay, so let's just create like a little bit of runway for everybody to benefit from. Justin, go ahead and switch the slide. Thanks. I'm sorry, I'm being terrible at letting you know. I love these. I love this. Wake up at the same time every day. That is a micro discipline that will have a compound effect. Just like Atomic Habits discusses this, all of these little small disciplines will change things. Gratitude is powerful. If you are listening to Ryan, oh, good golly. Now I'm going to have to look now. I'm sorry, you guys. The Rewire podcast. I am going to let you know it has language. It might not be kid friendly. But if you listen to that, he has what's called the G code, and it has to do with writing down your gratitudes each day. That could be very supportive of that mission for a lot of you. No, Angel Acts, listening to podcasts. Oh, gosh, Peter, listening to podcasts has absolutely changed my life in powerful ways. So, by the way, I have to give a plug on that. Like, please listen to the Conscious Investor podcast. I'm totally biased, but I love the podcast. Okay, so let's step into the last element behind goals. And Dustin, let's go ahead and we can switch the slides. And I just want to thank everyone once again. Like, and Tracy, I want to high five you on that daily exercise 30 minutes. Like I'm doing 75 hard right now. I'm doing two workouts a day, but I'm not doing heavy workouts. It's being gentle. It's great. So it really feels great when you get into those habits. All right. This is possibly, all of these are so important, but this is where everyone needs to just like absorb. Okay. So just like be fully present right now, because this is going to save you that moment when you want to quit, or that moment where when you're thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm a total failure. This is what you're going to remember right here. Okay. Goals are fluid, just like water. Okay. You need to be, and I don't usually say these like, you need to blah, blah. I don't like to be bossy. It does come naturally, but I don't like to be that way. You need to check in with your goals daily, weekly, monthly, whatever cadence you want. But the more engaged you are with your goals, the more likely they're going to come about. But what's most important about this is that you're going to notice the adjustments that you're going to need to make. I would assume that many of you made some adjustments to your investing goals when interest rates went up, right? And many of you are like, golly, can these sellers fall in line? And can we just get realistic on our pricing so that we have to make some adjustments in our goals so that we can reach our goals, right? And we just have to look at, hey, there's new information on the scene. Here's the other thing, is that we can shelf a goal. Okay, so sometimes we leave our dreams on the shelf. Our dreams should never be on the shelf. The dream should always be close to our hearts. But sometimes we shelf our goals and we're like, and that's okay. We can say, you know what? I was pursuing this, but it's getting in the way of these other things. And these are priority right now. I'm just going to put this on the shelf for now and give myself permission to do that. We can also pause a goal. Maybe I've been working on a book. I've had to pause that because of some other priorities taking place. So it's not done. I'm not done writing my book and I'm not quitting on the book. I just literally like hitting the pause button on the TV, just pausing it so that I can make sure that I'm present with the other responsibilities I have. So pausing is great. And here's the third thing you can actually do with some of your goals, because you are changing and transforming throughout this entire process. You're not going to be the same you as you were when you began. You might actually decide you want to retire a goal. You might decide, and I have my goals here. There are some goals that I set out. This is my goals. I always have them handy. There's some goals that I retired. As a year progressed, it wasn't that I quit on those goals. It's that actually they're not in alignment with the feelings I want to generate and the outcomes I'm looking for. And that's okay. But too often we become so attached to what is productive and measurable and tangible that we lose sight of, is this serving me well? Okay. So the more engaged that you are with your goals, the more you will adapt with your goals. And that just shows you're paying attention and you are engaged. So you need to celebrate that versus a lot of times, I think a lot of clients I've dealt, like engaged with, kind of beat themselves up over this. And I'm not trying to create an excuse or make it all soft and fluffy. Anyone who knows me knows I'm pretty darn hardcore about stuff. But I do want you to know that this is the reality. You are changing and transforming. So give yourself the grace to do that. Now, I did something a little different today. I have a bonus for you, and it is how to ace that whole success leaves clues. I want to get to that in just a moment. Dustin, if we can go ahead and change the slide. You guys have been absolutely amazing. And before I give you the straight A's, I would love to just try this out. This is something new because one of my goals is to better serve people like you when I am presenting. And this takes less than 2 minutes. It's like a minute and a half. So if you wouldn't mind, just scan the QR code, answer the questions, and let's see, just that gives me feedback to know if this presentation served you. And we'll just take a minute and a half, and then I'm going to give you the straight A's for acing that whole success leaves clues business. All right, Dustin, if you want to swap that slide. And again, thanks, Peter. I just want to thank you guys again for that feedback. And I would highly encourage, someone mentioned listening to podcasts. Joshua, thank you. I actually learned about that app today while I was listening to a podcast. It was amazing. And I thought, you know what? I'm speaking. I would love to know how to better serve, the audiences that I am speaking to. And so when we listen, when we grow, when we learn, it helps us show up in more powerful ways. We get information that helps us create a better experience for everyone. So I just want to thank you guys so much. All right, here's the whole thing. I want to demystify this whole success leaves clues because we hear about it all the time, and it can be a little frustrating, right? Because here's the thing. We say oh, we want to hold on to this whole thing of oh, if I do everything that they do, then I'm going to be just like them. Guess what? Spoiler, you're not. Even if you have the same outcomes, you're not going to be just like them because you are you. And your backstory is different than their backstory, and your experiences are different than their experiences. And so often we're trying to put ourselves into these predisposed little boxes so that we can just go through these, like little hamster wheel effects and be just like somebody. And the best and most important person to be is you. You were made in a very unique way, and you are important just as you are. So I want to encourage you that accept that your backstory is different. You might be like me. I was a teacher before I became a full-time investor and high performance coach. Maybe you're a C-suiter. Maybe you're a skilled laborer. Maybe, right? We all have these different backgrounds with our careers. And then maybe you were raised by your grandparents. Maybe you were raised with a single mom. Maybe you lost a parent early on in childhood, right? We get the idea. Your backstory is different than everyone else's backstory. So accept that your backstory is yours. It's not a limitation. It's an opportunity for you to show up as you. So now we're going to take all of these clues that are left behind. We want to adapt those clues to our backstory. Yeah, success does leave clues, and now we can kind of bend them so that they match us and that we can actually use them in an authentic way to show up as who we are and in a powerful way. And as we mentioned with goals being fluid, we want to adjust along the way. Always adjusting. So we're accepting our backstory, we're adapting all of their clues to us, and then we're going to course correct along the way. And all of these things are going to accelerate the process of our success, however you want to measure that. But please note that our life is measured in heartbeats, okay? And we don't know how many heartbeats we have. So don't waste a moment. Don't waste a moment on negativity. Don't waste a moment comparing yourself. Use your success hero as inspiration. Adapt things to your backstory so that you can accelerate your contribution to the world. And let's go on to the next slide. I have a personal goal, and that is over the next year. And I'd love to invite you to support this goal. I'm looking for 50 people to support through obviously apartment investing, but also through the high performance coaching that I offer. And I want to contribute in a powerful way. My clients are making exceptional strides. And I just love that. It's invigorating. The way teaching kids to read was invigorating. And I love seeing people find that financial freedom they're looking for through their investing. So, if that's you or someone that fits someone, like scan the QR code and let's definitely talk. But ultimately, let's go to our last slide. I just want to thank you so much. You guys have been seriously, I think, just the most attentive, collaborative meetup group I've ever participated with. And I've done many of these. And so I just want to thank you for your time, for your presence, and the opportunity to serve you in a powerful way. My phone number is down there on the bottom. That is my direct number. Please don't send weird things to me, but I love connecting with people. So feel free to shoot a text or to give me a call so that we can definitely connect up.